welcome back to my channel and welcome to episode 4 of Foundation 5. So today we're going to be trying out the new Essence Pretty Natural Hydrating Foundation. This has hyaluronic acid in it, or hyaluron as it says on the bottle right there, and aloe vera. It claims to be a 24-hour long wear fresh foundation with lasting moisturization, and it's supposed to have natural coverage. We're going to discuss what maybe that means in the application portion. And it's supposed to have natural finish and then a weightless skin feel, so you're not really supposed to feel it. So I don't really know if this is supposed to be full coverage, if that's what it's aiming for. It just says natural coverage. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe it means like less coverage, but maybe buildable. But we're gonna get into that in the application portion. So I'm very excited to try this squeezy tube, which I like. So that's pretty much it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the application portion. All right, guys, so we've got the foundation here. I'm actually pretty excited to try this. I'm hoping that it'll be a pretty good shade match. I got it in neutral vanilla. I'm excited about this one. I don't know if this is gonna be lighter coverage or what. It just says natural coverage, so I don't really know what that means. Does it mean like it's gonna look natural? Or is actually gonna have like pretty sheer coverage? We will see. Like I've been doing in all the Foundation 5 videos, I'm gonna do the Tati Beauty Blend Full on this side and a brush and sponge on the other side. So let's go ahead and put this on my palette. I think it will probably work. So let's grab my Tati Beauty Blend Full and get started on this right side. See what we're working with here. It's definitely like kind of a light coverage on the first layer. You can see some stuff peeking through, but I like the texture of this so far. It seems to be going on quite nicely, and I like that color match. It's almost like kind of smoothing my pores out, but you can still definitely see my hyperpigmentation and imperfections. Yeah, pretty light coverage for sure. I wonder if this is gonna be buildable. I don't think it claims to be buildable. No, it doesn't say anything about being buildable, so we're gonna test that out and see if it is, because I would like to see if it is. It really does have a nice texture though. If you don't really have much to cover and you wanna keep it light with not like a dewy finish or a matte finish, I feel like this one's pretty good because it's kind of just like a satin matte or a natural finish like it's saying. Well, it says natural coverage, but I'm guessing maybe it means natural finish. Like, I think it looks good. Definitely see-through, but it does kind of blur some of my imperfections. So I am interested to see if this will build. But before we do that, let's do the other side with my e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush and see kind of what we're working with on this side. Pretty much like the same kind of thing. I have a pimple right there from actually a foundation I tried a couple weeks ago that I tried again, and I will explain that in a speed reviews video I do. So on the nose, I'm definitely getting more texture with the brush, and it's not really covering. I think maybe because it doesn't go well with the brush strokes. And it didn't cover that at all. Like if you had nothing to cover or you had very, very little to cover, this would be a beautiful foundation because it really is just smoothing on the skin. But on a first layer for me, it's definitely not what I'm used to. As you can see, everything pretty much. Let me go over that side, even though I think that's gonna make the coverage worse, with a sponge just to see, because I do see slight brush strokes, not much, but slight. I do like the finish because it really is just like your skin, but a little bit better if you have like not a lot to cover. So that's what the first layer is looking like. Definitely very light coverage. It didn't even really cover the redness on my nose, and it blurred, but you can definitely still see all of my imperfections and freckles and hyperpigmentation. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go back into the Tati Beauty Blend Full and try to build it up on this one side. The thing is, it's weird about this, it's kind of like the Revlon one, but I almost think this one looks better. It's not like I hate it. It's not clinging. It doesn't have any textural issues like that one had. but it's definitely not full coverage. It's just kind of blurring things slightly. That got a little bit more coverage. Still not close to full, but it definitely provided some more coverage over that scarring. And it seemed to build okay. Like, it's not cakey or anything like that. It's got the prettiest finish. See if I can build up some coverage on this nose though, because my nose really is red. And I like to cover the redness. You know what's funny about this one? It really is beautiful on the skin. Like, even if you have more to cover, like, not cystic acne, but if you have like scarring and stuff, it just makes you look like, it kind of accentuates your natural beauty. I don't know how, but it does. Like, it's not really there to cover, it's more there to just blur and accentuate like the good parts of you. See how pretty that looks? It's not cakey, it's not full coverage, that's for sure. But like, even so, with like imperfections peeking through, I'm not hating it. So I'm gonna go on the other side with a brush. I do kind of hope it covers that pimple up, because that will bother me. But let's just go on the other side with the brush. Yeah, it does have a nice second layer on this left side with a brush as well. Like, I think that my skin looks nice, not full coverage, but I do think that somehow it makes my skin look okay. So let me kind of smooth it out with a sponge. On that second layer, the sponge didn't take really any coverage off. I mean, you definitely can see my pimple through there. But the second layer with the brush made it less noticeable. And of course, with like a little bit of powder, I feel like it will look a little bit more diminished as well. But gosh, I mean, the texture on this foundation is so beautiful and the finish is natural. I mean, honestly, like, if you don't have like cystic acne, if you don't have too much scarring, or you don't really mind your scarring peeping through, so far this is looking really nice. I also think this would look good for more mature skin because it's not overly dewy and it's not overly matte. It's not covering stuff, but it's definitely not full coverage. But I think that my skin looks really pretty, and that second layer on both sides did kind of help take down the redness on my nose. Not full coverage because I can still see it, but I'm a perfectionist, so. I do think, gosh, it looks so good. So not full coverage, but it looks really nice on the skin. What I'm going to do now is, of course, I'm going to go finish up the rest of my makeup and let you know how everything else applies on top of it. I, at some point, will be doing a natural lighting clip. I can't decide if I'm going to do it before I put the rest of my makeup on or after. I think I might do it before, so I think I'm going to go do that real quick and then put the rest of my makeup on so you guys can kind of see what I'm looking at without everything else on. So let's go do that. It is a little bit cloudy outside, so I apologize if there's not really any sun, but hopefully it will still help you guys see in a more natural setting what I am talking about on like the finish and coverage and everything. All right, so I'm in front of a window and you can hopefully kind of see what I'm talking about. It's definitely not full coverage. That pimple is definitely peeking through, but my skin looks kind of blurred and just really, really nice. I used my e.l.f. Putty Primer today, so no like new primer or anything like that. That's the primer I've been using every day because it's the one I love. And even with that, I don't feel like some of my foundations are as blurred as this one is. So I definitely think the blurring effect is also partially from the foundation itself. But I just think that this looks so nice. It's not cakey, it's not full coverage, didn't cover everything like that. You can still see hyperpigmentation, freckles, but like it does look really nice, right? Is it just me? Because I think it looks really nice. But anyway, I'm gonna go finish the rest of my makeup and I'll see you guys in a second. All right, so here is the rest of my makeup on. I think this looks really, really, really good. Gosh, it just like makes me look poreless and good. I think everything else went on top of it really nicely. None of like my other products lifted it or anything like that. The powder went on beautifully. The thing is, with the finish of this, I didn't feel like I really needed that much powder because it wasn't like particularly glowy or anything like that. So I just kind of went in, and it also like set down. So I didn't feel like I really needed to go in with powder. Like if you're a person who's like, I don't really like powder, and you like to wear bronzer, but like powder's like kind of the only way to keep the foundation on before you put bronzer so it doesn't move. I think this one would actually not move if you were to just go in straight in with bronzer and decided that you wanted to pass on putting on powder. So yeah, overall, I think this looks really good. I love the way my skin looks right now. It is still not full coverage, but it is so smoothing and really blurs out imperfections. It just doesn't cover them completely. So I would be totally content going out in this. I feel like I look pretty good. Not to sound conceited, but I feel like my skin looks pretty good. So of course I'm gonna be doing a wear test, and it is 11 o'clock right now. So I will see you in 2 hours at 1, and so on and so forth until we get a pretty solid wear test. So that is it for now. So I will see you guys in the first check-in. All right, so welcome to check-in number 1. It is 12:30 right now. I just finished eating lunch, so my lipstick is like not really on. But the foundation is looking really, really good. I think it just looks so smooth. Like I said, it didn't really cover that, so that's kind of peeking through. But it just looks so good. It's not even really falling into smile lines too much. Maybe like a slight bit right there, but not on the other side. So it just looks really, really good. I love how smooth my skin looks with this foundation. I think it just looks so nice, and it's not like cakey or anything like that. It doesn't have full coverage, but it has a decent amount after a couple of layers, and it just looks really good. So yeah, not a lot has changed. So I will see you guys in the next check-in. All right, guys, so it is 2:30. Welcome to the second check-in. So not much has changed. I did blow my nose because I'm cold and my nose was running. So it did come off a little bit on the left nostril, but not a whole lot going on in the mouth area. The finish hasn't really changed. It's still a very natural looking finish. You can, of course, still see that. You saw it before, you know, any of the check-ins or anything like that, but it's not really peeping through more than anything else. So I think like if I were having, especially like where I wasn't having any active breakouts, this one would be one I would definitely reach for so far. I mean, it has only been 4 hours, so we'll see if it takes a negative turn here in the next couple of hours or 4 hours, and however much longer I do check-ins. But as for right now, I think it looks really good. I like the tone of it as well. I think it matches like my undertone really nicely. So yeah, not much has changed. So I see you guys in a couple of hours. So welcome to the third check-in. It is 4:30 right now. Nothing has changed, honestly. And side note, Thomas got home a little early, so he got home an hour ago, and he told me he really liked my foundation today. So I think that this is one that people will agree on looks pretty good. I really, really like this one. I like the fact that even though it's a little bit lighter coverage, it's not cakey, and it is very natural looking, and it does provide some coverage. So if you have like less to cover, or you don't mind some imperfections seeping through, then I think that you would really like this one so far. I am going to do another check-in at 6:30 and then do the outro and close it out. But as of right now, it looks really, really good, and it's been on for a decent amount of time thus far. So I'm very pumped about this. All right, so it is 8 o'clock right now, and I'm about to take my makeup off. I have had this on for 9 hours, so I feel like it's been pretty solid. Let's look at it real quick. This is a fantastic foundation. That little part is bothering me, but I don't get those very much, like the big zits or whatever. That's, I think, probably because of like my, you know, period. Anyway, so everything else looks really good. It didn't even really fall into many smile lines, like a little bit on my upper lip, but that was because I was sweating a little bit earlier. And it didn't really fall too much into smile lines, just a little bit. It didn't get really shiny, except maybe a little bit on my chin. But for 9 hours, this looks really, really good, and I really like this foundation. So I'm very excited about this one. I'm excited to try it when I don't have a pimple on my chin. Yeah, so that is it for today's Foundation 5 episode. I hope you guys liked it and have been liking the series. If you have, please give this video a thumbs up, hit the notification bell down below so you know when I upload in the future, and please subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye!